On the one hand, we have a criminal justice system, which the district attorney's office is handling. That system is to hold Mr. Strauss-Kahn responsible and potentially to send him to jail. On the other hand, we have a civil justice system, which is to hold Mr. Strauss-Kahn responsible and to pay damages to Ms. Diallo for what she had to go through. And while there might be some people who question her motivations for doing that, I would ask you or anyone else, if God forbid something happened to you or your daughter or your wife and she was sexually assaulted or she was raped, I feel confident that you would also seek damages, money damages, for what your wife or your daughter went through. Well, if you put all of the facts of this case together, it's a compelling case that demonstrates that Mr. Strauss-Kahn sexually assaulted Ms. Diallo. First of all, Ms. Diallo went into the room not knowing anyone was there. And we know that because there was a gentleman coming out with a food tray who told her that nobody was in the room. So any sort of conspiracy theory that she was trying to set him up is significantly discounted by that fact. She then went into the room and he came out completely naked and then assaulted her, not on a bed, not on a couch, in a dark sort of hallway on the floor. She had bruising to her vaginal area. She had ripped stockings. She has a tear to her ligament in her shoulder. This whole thing occurred over a very short period of time, a matter of about 10 minutes. She then left, and it's also very important, she then told this account to numerous people. There are photographs of the bruising. There are doctors' records that corroborate the tear to the ligament in the shoulder. And then, very interestingly, Mr. Strauss-Kahn got dressed very quickly. He had toothpaste all around his mouth, and he fled the scene of the crime like a common criminal. He jumped into a taxi cab. He staged a lunch with his daughter where he was at very quickly. And then he got on the telephone, and this is before the police came to pull him off the plane. He called his wife and said he had a grave problem. And I'd ask you, why would he be telling his wife he had a grave problem if he didn't know that he did something wrong?
So physicians concluded that there was violence, on Nafissatou Diallo on that day.
Well, it's not up for doctors or physicians to make those conclusions. That's for a jury to determine, ultimately. They will look at the medical evidence. They will see the medical evidence. They will see what the doctors saw and the reports that the doctors did. They will see that in the reports there was bruising to Ms. Diallo's vagina. They will see that Ms. Diallo had a tear to her shoulder. And then with that evidence and all of the other evidence I've already told you about, and there's other things as well, the jury will be asked to conclude that those things came about because of a sexual assault that occurred on May 14th.
So for you, there is strong evidence that physicians in a hospital saw and photographed asserting that there was violence committed on Nafissatou Diallo on that day.
I've seen the medical records, and they support her account of what happened.
So if the evidence is so strong, in the filing you talk about redness, you talk about bruises in her private parts, a tear in her shoulder, why do you think prosecutors seem to be scared to take the case through and to try Dominique Strauss-Kahn? Why are they so scared that a jury wouldn't believe Nafissatou Diallo?
That's a perplexing question. I honestly don't have an answer for their motivations. I find it very curious. I'm a former prosecutor myself, and I can tell you that if I had this evidence and I was a prosecutor still, there would be no doubt in my mind that I would bring this case to trial and let a jury decide Mr. Strauss-Kahn's fate. I can only speculate as to what the motivations are of the district attorney's office. I don't think my speculation is particularly helpful or relevant, and that's their job to decide whether or not to prosecute the case. My job is to represent Ms. Diallo, and that's why we filed our civil lawsuit yesterday. is to move forward with the civil case and to vindicate her rights as a woman and to hold Mr. Strauss-Kahn responsible for what he did.